to So That Reminds Me, Reminder Publishing's podcast discussing Western Mass news. My name is Dennis Hackett.
And I'm Ryan Feyre.
And I'm Tyler Garnet.
We'll be your host for today's episode. For this week's episode, we'll be giving our review of Family Lockup, an A&E docu-series based out of Hampden County Jail that debuted in August. Well, guys, I think this is the first time the three of us have been on the mic together. I know we're coming off Thanksgiving. How are you guys all doing?
Doing great. Thanksgiving was fun. Got to travel down to Long Island to see my family. Spent a few days there. Did a little Black Friday shopping as well.
Nice.
So a lot of food, leftovers. It was plentiful. So enjoyed that. What about you guys?
Yeah, I went to Agawam for Thanksgiving, and maybe not as great as Long Island, but still fun. I saw some family. My brother came home from New York, so it was nice to see him, and watched probably more football than I've watched all year, which, I watch a lot of football, but between the Thursday games, the Friday Black Friday game, Saturday college football, it was we had a bounty of football, so that's mostly what I did that weekend.
Yeah,
nice.
A lot of good games too.
Yeah. So we went out to dinner for the first time for Thanksgiving to the public house in Sturbridge, so that was pretty cool. Did not have turkey, to be honest.
Yeah, no.
They had a bunch of options. It was like prime rib. They had turkey. They had like salmon too, I guess. You got some kind of chicken. The kids station was kind of funny. They had like chicken tenders and French fries. I was so tempted, but I was
gonna say I might have walked over there too.
Yeah.
Turkey is debated a lot during Thanksgiving. I think I would have put that third out of the three things you named, even fourth if you had chicken tenders.
I'm not a huge turkey guy.
No,
I was watching the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving special with family Thursday night, and they bring out the toast and the candy and the popcorn and everything. And was it Peppermint Patty's complaining about it? I'm like, I would have eaten that. That's cool with me.
I know. I usually just throw turkey on there just because it's on the table. I feel like you have to, but it's not the go-to for sure.
No, prime rib sounds good though.
It does.
That sounds
good.
I
love prime rib. I kept going back for that because it was obviously like an all-you-can-eat kind of buffet type of deal. So it was just going back, but and then they had like a pie station too, so that was good. I had a nice slice of cheesecake, and then they had, like, the pie station too was like an apple pie that was kind of like you would find like mac and cheese in like a buffet kind of type of deal. So we were grabbing those.
Nice.
And that was really good.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
And then for me, it kept going. I had my 10-year reunion on the next day, so that was something.
How was that going back? Can you believe it's been 10 years?
No, but I mean, it was good. Like, I went with some friends, and then we went to a friend's place beforehand, so we hung out there for a little bit.
Nice.
And then we went to Smith's Billiards above Theodore's, so that was fun. And they had Theodore's appetizers. I gushed on this podcast how much I love Theodore's, that was good to have. They had their burnt ends, which are like my favorite.
Nice.
Yep. I could support that. Was this your first reunion? Because the 5-year was during COVID, wasn't it?
Yeah, they had something a lot smaller. I wasn't really around for, so I didn't see it.
Yeah.
But so I didn't attend that one. But this was my first one. It was good. It was like, I was kind of talking to these guys about it earlier. It's like, it was the people I wanted to see. You know what I mean? Like, it was.
I get that.
Because we're like Hampden Wilbraham for Minnehaha, so like for, like 10 years, it's like all Hampden kids, and then all of a sudden you go to Minnehaha, and then it's Wilbraham too. But it was like a lot of the core Hampden people that I really grew up with were at like not only the reunion, but then a little after party after. So it was really good catching up with those people. But
nice. Yeah, I don't think I even had a 5-year because of COVID, and mine 10 years next year, so we'll see where it's at. But I get that, like there's some people you want to see from high school, and hopefully those people are there. So it's easy to catch up and everything. But that sounds fun. That's a fun way to spend the weekend.
Yeah. And then I was in a condition on Saturday, so it was just college football after that. Then I missed most of football on Sunday, unfortunately. But
you didn't miss too great of a day.
No, it seems like that was the week to miss if I was going to miss one.
Definitely was. The week before was all the great divisional matchups. This week was kind of just whoever didn't play on Thanksgiving, leftovers.
The leftovers.
Yeah, nice. But so didn't really miss too much there. But I'm looking forward to my 10 years in 2 years. So I still get to hang out with some of my friends from high school. So that's who I'm going to want to see anyway, and see who else shows up. I know everyone's always indifferent about their excitement for going or not going. So
yeah. Well, and you have the unique situation where your fiance also went to school with you too, right?
True. Yeah. So that'll be fun for both of us to go back. We did meet in high school too, so that'd be nice to go back to the old stomping grounds.
Yeah.
Trip down memory lane, I'm sure.
Yeah, it definitely will be.
Crazy to even think about that we're already at this point, but
No.
I know.
It's insane.
All right, well, today we're kind of talking about this a little bit, but today is also the release of our Spotify Wrapped. I believe Apple Replay was yesterday.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this is always kind of one of my favorite times of year, just to see what people were listening to and like maybe how their music taste might have changed or not changed over the year. And then everybody obviously shares it online. You get to see what everybody's talking about, what they listen to. So I guess, Ryan, do you want to start with yours?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm on the Apple Music squad. I've had Apple Music for years, and they used to never do this until like I think a few years ago, maybe. I think it was they finally started doing it, and it's like this grand like I don't know, like they have this whole video for you now and everything. So they do go all in, and I mean my tastes have kind of been similar over the years. I've always been a big rap fan, big R&B fan. Pop. I listen to a lot more pop, honestly, this year than I have in past years. But yeah, most of the artists I listen to, a lot of them are very underground. I'll shout out the Pink Panthers album though, as one of my favorite pop albums this year for sure. And she's a little more mainstream, so I think people will probably recognize that name. But I'm going to shout out her as one of my favorite artists from this year. But yeah, I listened to, I think it was 52,000 minutes of music and over 500 albums. So pretty robust year on the music end for me, I'd say.
Very nice.
Yeah. So that's me.
Yeah, no, I have Apple Music as well. Yeah. I was glad they added this feature a few years ago because I was always jealous of Spotify, but I had to hold my allegiance to Apple Music. I couldn't switch over. But
too many playlists, you know.
Exactly, too many playlists. Apple Music, I already had it. Yeah. I had the college deal, $5 a month. So.
It's so funny because I was the opposite because I had Spotify like pretty much when it came out.
Gotcha, yeah.
Because my parents were on Pandora and I was like, ugh.
Yeah,
because it was just like Pandora was like radio at the time. I don't think they really had playlists and stuff. I think they do now.
Yeah,
I was just like, I want to listen to like not radio music.
But. Yeah, exactly. So Apple Music had this video. I listened to around 11,000 minutes of music. I'm more of a podcast guy. I usually have that on in the background. Some of my top artists, most Long Island thing probably ever. Billy Joel is up there as number one, and then just have Travis Scott, Post Malone, Drake, and Migos. So big variety. Country, hip hop, pop kind of made it. I listened to just a lot of different genres. And yeah, that's what my list is looking like. Yeah. Dennis, how's your list looking?
It's looking fun. I mean, there's like, so my music taste is like quite literally all over the place. Like, so in my top 5, I had Bring Me the Horizon, Linkin Park. I also had Sabrina Carpenter and Taylor Swift.
Very nice.
And then State Champs, which is a smaller like Albany-based like kind of pop punk band.
Nice.
That I used to listen to. I didn't realize that they were going to be on the list this year, to be honest with you, but they were. This is going to be probably controversial, but this will probably be the last year Taylor Swift's on that list.
Oh,
interesting.
Honestly, I don't blame you.
I don't think that new album was very good, to be honest.
Me neither.
Yeah,
all right.
Me neither.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought I was crazy.
No.
Honestly, there's a lot of people who had that take, and there wasn't a lot of people criticizing that take, which made me think it was a universal. Not a lot of people liked that album.
It was just that.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. Just pretty.
But the thing that coincided with her fall was Sabrina Carpenter's rise.
True. Someone
to be honest.
Yeah. Someone had to take over that that gap in the listening of music. So
yeah.
I'm glad. She's got some good music too. She had a couple good albums.
Yeah.
Yeah. Both albums that she came out with felt like good like companion pieces. You know.
Yeah.
Like. So
they feel like a kind of pop that we don't really get as much anymore. So that was kind of nice.
No. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, it was funny. The one controversial thing I always used to say, I don't really like country music. That
Me neither.
is kind of changed this year because like starting like probably over the summertime, I started listening to more country, and it was like my top 5, like number 5 genre on there. So that was kind of nuts to see.
Yeah, I'm pretty indifferent about country. I don't love or hate it, but I feel like there's so many pop or hip hop artists that have transitioned to country.
Yeah,
it's kind of made it easier.
So that's the thing. Like some of Sabrina Carpenter's songs are like kind of country too.
They are. Yeah, the new album.
Exactly.
Sure.
Like I think my top album was Post Malone's country album.
Yep.
That he came out with last year at this point, or maybe even if it was this year. I can't remember. But regardless, it's like Post Malone was hip-hop rap, and now he's gone to country.
I will say country fits Post really well.
It
compared
really
to
does.
others.
That's why I can't stop listening to that album.
Yeah.
And then obviously, like, we can kind of blame one of our former editors, Lauren LaBelle, for getting me onto Jelly Roll earlier this year too.
He's great as well. I haven't listened to too much of his stuff recently, but he's just great. He's inspiring too. So
him, Post Malone, and then Shabuzi are probably the country artists.
I do like a couple Shabuzi,
Yeah.
Shabuzi songs.
Yes,
there's a couple like collaborations he did in like the rap sphere that I really like. So
yeah,
I'm in on Shabuzi.
One thing I learned this year too is that Marshmello collabs with everybody.
Yes,
like literally everybody across every different genre.
Yeah.
And I hadn't realized that until I was like kind of diversifying my music more. Like I think I have a playlist where I have his song with the Jonas Brothers and then another song with Jelly Roll too.
Nice.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think we've rambled a bit about the music.
No,
which is good.
We have eclectic taste.
Yeah.
I think that's what's good too. It's just diverse.
Yeah.
You know, get to have conversations about what we like and stuff. So.
Exactly. And anyone listening, let us know who some of your top artists are and top listens. We're interested to see.
Yeah, send them in on our socials, or you want to email us, news@thereminder.com.
Yeah.
Love to hear what y'all are listening to out there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but to dive into the topic of this episode, we're going to talk about Family Lockup. And for those who have not seen or heard about the show, the 10-episode series follows family members of inmates as they go behind bars to support their incarcerated loved ones at the Hampden County Jail in Ludlow. The show has ordinary citizens participate in an unprecedented program to spend 48 hours in jail, living as inmates to confront a loved one. They are housed with real inmates, and the featured inmates need to attempt to repair their broken relationships to stay out of jail. Family members then decide if they're going to stay in the inmate's life or cut ties forever. But before we get into that discussion, we will be back after a few short messages.
The holiday season is quickly approaching, and you can bring joy to a child's life with just one small act of kindness. The Salvation Army's Toy for Joy campaign is in full swing, and we are asking you to help make a difference. Your monetary donation will help provide thousands of Western Mass children with a toy and a book, filling their holiday season with joy and imagination. At Toy for Joy, we believe every child deserves to experience the magic of the holidays, and your support can help make this wish a reality. To help give the gift of joy, visit tinyurl.com/toyforjoy2025. Together, we can make this holiday season brighter for every child. Toy for Joy is a partnership between the Salvation Army, Reminder Publishing, and The Republican.
We get it. You're busy, but you want to be connected to your local community. If you're not reading The Reminder, Western Mass's free weekly newspaper, you're missing out on the heartbeat of your town. Stay in the loop with all the latest buzz, from local stories to community updates and exciting events. It's all in The Reminder. Just log on to thereminder.com and dive into the hometown news you love. To subscribe to receive The Reminder at your home, call 413-788-1316. Don't miss a beat. Your town, your stories, your community for over 60 years. The Reminder. We are hometown news.
So to kind of preface this conversation, I don't think the three of us are very big into reality TV show watching.
No.
I think our equivalent to reality TV is sports at this point.
Yes.
Or Bar Rescue for me.
That's a good one.
I like Bar Rescue.
Yeah. A little different taste of what the show is about, but yeah.
Some of the cooking stuff too, but yeah. Mostly I'm not really into it either.
No.
I like a little Gordon Ramsay here and there.
Yes.
But Yeah, so just to kind of preface this, this is not coming from somebody that are watching reality TV all the time.
Yes.
So I think it might come through that our feelings are a little bit negative on this one.
Yes.
But just wanted to throw that out of the way. So I guess kind of broad picture, what are your guys' thoughts on the show or from what you saw?
Yeah, so I got through like about 5 episodes the other day. I got like the 1-day pass to watch like for like $5 to watch about half the season. And I think like, listen, I think the idea, the program that the department is kind of facilitating here is a noble one, and I think there is a lot of merit to it. The idea of kind of reunifying families, and having those families be there for support through the inmates' like toughest days. I think that is a noble thing to do. I think my thing with the program, and I think this is like the case with a lot of the A&E stuff, is they come, A&E, a lot of the producers of these shows, they come from like a less like of a journalistic approach and more like a sensationalized approach in a way,
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
Where it's like, it feels like a lot of it is kind of, some of it is like, for me at least, a little icky because it's like it feels like they're airing dirty laundry in a way. You know what I mean? Whereas I think this is something that, again, is important, but I think could be done in a more like private setting. So I think for me, like, and that's the case with a lot of these shows. Like I was saying, I was looking at some of the other things they've produced, like Hip Hop Homicides and stuff like that, and it's just. There's a certain sheen to these types of shows where you have like the intense music and the intense interviews, and sometimes it's hard to kind of get at sometimes it's hard to kind of see the message or kind of the purpose of a show like this when all this like other production that's kind of surrounds it, So that's kind of just my feelings with it. But again, a noble program. So,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree with you about the program itself. Just looking at it from like a production standpoint, I think we kind of texted a little bit about it differently. To call it like a docu-series, I don't want to say it was wrong, but it was 10 episodes of pretty much the same premise in each episode, obviously just following a different inmate and their loved one going into the show. Some of the flow of it was pretty good. They did have the premise down. I think we'll talk about it a little bit when they had the psychiatrist come in to kind of facilitate it. But yeah, sometimes having just like a camera in their face makes it seem like the people talking might not be as sincere and just kind of saying what they think the camera wants to hear.
Yeah.
So it's kind of taking away from the moment, not saying that the program doesn't do great things, but it's like you kind of see in some of the instances after that they say one thing and then unfortunately, they kind of reverted back at the end. But, if you did enjoy it, 10 episodes, there's 10 episodes of pretty much the same program going on here.
Yeah, no, I think I kind of pretty much agree with what you guys had said, but I think one thing that definitely stood out to me is that it probably could have been shorter. You mentioned the 10 episodes. I think if you did maybe like a 4-episode miniseries, maybe a little longer episodes or something like that, maybe doing like a couple of families.
Exactly, yeah.
I feel like you could have accelerated it a little bit and you would have gotten different perspectives. Yeah, like I think, like, and I'm definitely want to talk more about the program specifically because I think there's so much to it. Like, like I feel like offering this to people to be able to reconnect with family members in prison that they may not have a good relationship with or they haven't seen in a while. Like, I think that's something that's really important. That I don't really want to get lost in this discussion. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, I think like there's clearly a need for this kind of program where you're putting yourself in the shoes of your loved one who's in prison, basically, and then trying to reconcile with them and figure out where they want to go, where you want to go, that type of thing.
Yeah, that's a great point because in the second episode, those two brothers hadn't talked for 8 years.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for at least this show and program that, who knows if they ever would have talked again or if the one younger brother would have been there for the brother when he came out. So that's a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's difficult too with these things with where it's like, I understand when you're making a show you want people to watch. You know, you got to like draw people in. I understand that. So it's tough to like have a balance of like, you know, tact while also, you know, making sure people are watching the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
That is a tough balance to have. But no, I agree with you guys about the program itself for sure. And it's been around for a while, right?
I believe so.
It's been around. I was looking at some of the information, and it's been around. I think since this type of program has been around since like the 90s. So
the service program was around the 90s, which is pretty interesting. That's, you know, that is one of the cool things too. Is like, you know, the show did take place right here in Western Massachusetts, so it's kind of, you know, not too far away from a lot of places we covered. I know, you know, I used to cover Ludlow and Belchertown. Dennis did as well. I don't know if you ever got the chance to go into that prison. I did one time, and I just did want to say, not to go too off topic, the sound effects when you hear the doors slam open and the beep to let someone in, not dramatized at all. It does sound like that in real life. So I remember the first time going in, like, even just from my perspective, I knew I was going to report a story or event that was going on. And I was still nervous. I can't imagine somebody who's going in there as a loved one and not going in there, you know, to live there, can feel. I mean, if you watch the show, I mean, they go through the entire process of getting checked in. I mean, they check everything. So it's definitely nerve-wracking. So anyone who did go in there was brave.
I know one of the discussion points we have here is if the program works. I mean, I feel like in some cases, like the show obviously highlighted it, but it's like with every situation like this, it's really incumbent upon like the person that's in the prison to really decide if they're going to grow forward with their life or not. So I feel like the 4 or 5-ish episodes I watched, it was kind of 50-50, like, which I feel like is probably a good representation of like how families like would reconnect after something like that, and depending on if they're able to actually move on from their issues and stuff. But
I would say there's certain aspects that work for me, and I think we're going to kind of get into it a little bit, more specific stuff that happens. But I think there's, even if it's not on purpose, there's like, I think broader discussions to be had about just, you know, cell cleanliness and all that. And like I said, we're going to get into that in a minute. But I think in certain aspects, it does uncover things that, you know, warrant a discussion and further scrutiny. I do, but I think then there's just other times where I just feel like the approach could have been, I think a little better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a little better. I felt like at times I was like, you know, like I felt like it was a little invasive at times. Like I was reading a diary. You know what I mean? And it's like that part I you know, wasn't really for me. But I do think there is some merit to the show in some other ways.
I almost wonder if it was more of a documentary style series, if we would have if it would have resonated with us a little bit more. Where it's like, here's this program. We're not going to give you the juicy details. Maybe we'll interview families and stuff that have been a part of this.
Yeah, even if they just had a little bit more about just the jail itself, maybe too, just at the beginning of like maybe the first episode to kind of give us a little background on every program. Like they mentioned, like I know I already referenced the second episode, but you know, at the end when the brother does get out, he immediately goes to the AISS building, which is the All-Inclusive Support Services building, and that's like a program that they kind of didn't really highlight or touch on all entirely, but you know, like Ryan was saying, it's been around since like the 90s. Can kind of help with the transition process, because you know, that was kind of the whole point that Cocchi kind of mentions at the beginning of each episode, is how important having just a support system and a family is after you're released. You know, you want to be able to get with people who can help you out and make sure you don't go down a similar path. So I do think if it was more of a documentary style, maybe it would have been a little different, but you know, there is a lot of merit here for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, I guess kind of going off of that, did you guys think it needed to be televised at all? Any of this?
Again, I'm not a reality TV watcher, so I'm not really interested. Like, obviously, like my ears perked up a few times when I was watching a few of the episodes, but like, I don't know. I don't really need that much intimate information about some of these people. Like, I feel like one of the episodes, it was episode 3, which we'll talk about a bit more, where it was the 2 sisters. Like, one of the sister in prison held this grudge that her sister had, like, was the reason she had ended up in jail and her boyfriend had died or something like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That feels like really kind of getting personal. Like, but obviously they obviously signed off and said, "Hey, you can use this."
Of course,
But I don't know.
Yeah, it does. It's tough because these are delicate subjects. I mean, a lot of these people have had drug addiction for years, and it just feels like, you know, it's tough because that affects their families and, you know, obviously themselves, and it's very difficult to kind of showcase that in kind of a sensitive manner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think the show kind of fails to do that at times, and I think it succeeds sometimes. But
yeah. And like, kind of I really like this is, I put this down at the bottom of our list, but that's something I really wanted to talk about, was how it really highlights not only like especially like the drug epidemic in our society and addiction, and how like I feel like in many of the episodes, like a lot of the people had issues with like heroin and stuff like that. So it was kind of interesting, I think, especially with the first episode where the father and the son, like, they're in like 2 opposite spectrums pretty much, where the father is like very religious, and he, like, you know, wants his son to find God and all that stuff, and then his son is like no interest in doing that, and he's been, you know, dealing with addiction issues for pretty much his whole life. Or then like with the 2 sisters again, like they were talking about how she started doing heroin when she was like 17 or something like that, because her father like wanted her to, which is so sad.
No, that is one takeaway too, is like there is a lot of sad and heart-wrenching stories that came out of this, and, you know, you got to deep dive in even just what kind of the prison life is. I mean, going back to the first episode, you know, I know when they were talking about him having multiple bed sheets is because I believe it was the substance abuse locker or something was right below. You could go right through the toilets to grab some of that stuff. And it was also disheartening too, because like we mentioned, a lot of these loved ones hasn't talked to the, you know, inmate that's in prison for years or months or even years. And, you know, they would meet with one of the officers on that first day and be like, "Oh, so how are they doing? They've been sober, right? And they've been going to their programs." And it's like, no, they haven't been doing that, or they did relapse, or they did find a way to get some drugs and stuff. And it's like, you know, it was tough to see the person who was being brave and going into the cell and learning that they're going out of their way to try and help their loved one, but it seems like their loved one wasn't, you know, doing the same. Although obviously I don't have any family members or anyone I directly know who has dealt with any drug problems, but what I can say I have heard is obviously it's not the easiest thing to quit. So, you know, this is a delicate subject.
But then that brings it back to episode 2, where the brother, he had been a part of the program, and he said he was, but he had shown up like twice for it or something like that.
They had to terminate him because I think he missed like 5 or 6 classes of the 20-something. So, which is, it is tough, because even the younger brother who was, you know, doing the show was like, I'm coming here for what then? If you have no plan, if you're not going to help, you know, what's the point of this? So.
And I think you saw that too, where like if it didn't work out, like the family members were very willing to be like, "Hey, like this is it, pretty much." Like they're going out on a limb for these people, but then if they don't necessarily take it, then that was kind of it. I think it was episode 5, which is the last one I watched, I believe, where the son went in for his father, who had been in there for like bank robberies and stuff like that and stealing money, and he like gave him that opportunity, but then like after they said that he had said something to his mother or something, and they just completely ended it immediately.
Interesting.
But
I wanted to bring up we were talking about how, you know, these people were kind of sharing their stories and sometimes excruciating detail, and that those were a lot of those scenes happened when what was it, psychologist Dr. Jeff Gardere kind of helped facilitate the sessions and kind of the, you know, the battle between the families, emotional battle. Like, what were your guys' thoughts on that? To me, it felt like a like a therapy session almost on
Yeah.
camera. I don't know how it read to you guys, but
That was one of the things I wanted to mention. I kind of brought it up with the two spectrums
Mm-hmm.
for the father and the son in the first episode, and it like that was one of the things where I'm like, with the therapy session, I'm like, oh, this works.
Yes.
Because you see, they're both, the father and the son are kind of dealing with this deep self-hatred for themselves.
Yeah.
And then they talk to the therapist, they talk to each other, and they're kind of able to come together over that's kind of, I don't know how to say it, like that combined issue that they both have, and they're able to kind of move on from it.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I'm glad you brought up that point, because having that psychologist there not only obviously helped with like the show, but definitely helped with the two people involved.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's so many people who are fighting something in their head and they don't even know it. So the psychologist was able to help bring that out when he had the one-on-one with each of them, and then was able to help facilitate and mediate this conversation to kind of make the other side realize, like, maybe I'm being too hard on him. I have to see where I'm going wrong, and then, also help the individual person kind of grow a little bit. So I did really like him, and he was, he did in like a pretty chill but also assertive way to be like, befriend the person, but also be like, hey,
like firm, but like also caring at the same time.
So I feel like he did a good job of getting through to a lot of them, at least getting them on a better path for the time being.
Yeah, but then again, like we mentioned earlier, it's incumbent on the people to kind of take it up, and like the first episode they clearly did.
Yes,
and they found that kind of common ground, but other episodes you didn't really see that as much.
No, there was definitely some arguments, some breakdowns, and that's where it kind of comes back to the conversation we're having as they're trying to have this emotional moment. There's just the cameras getting closer and following them, and they got the mic pack on them that they don't want listening to them as they're breaking down. So there is parts that helped, but it still is tough when there's a camera in your face and you might be getting vulnerable for the first time in your life, or for the first time in a while at least.
Yeah, I would agree with you guys on the. I felt like those sessions definitely felt like the most humane kind of aspect of the show. I think, even if I think like there were a couple questions where I feel like, all right, this feels like a question that's gonna like instigate. You know what I mean? Like one of the, like if this looks like a question that would probably start a fight. But I do think, like you guys were saying, they were able to. It was like a way to at least kind of just tussle with their demons a little bit, you know what I mean? Like try to eliminate them in some way. And I do think that those, I think the intention was a little more, I think, sympathetic than some of the other aspects of the show. So those scenes were, I think, definitely a strong point. For sure.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And because it didn't feel like they were very performative either. Like those are those people's actual emotions and how they felt at the time.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's funny about the performative aspect, because there were a couple times I remember one of the family members, he was, he's going in the cell and he meets like some of the inmates for the first time, and he's trying to be like this evangelist. And that felt like that part felt like, I'm not saying it was, but it felt a little staged, and it was like, all right, like the first time you meet the inmates. But yeah, no, I agree with you. The therapy scenes definitely didn't feel performative in any way.
No.
So yeah.
And then we talked about cleanliness of cells. Episode 3, we're going to bring this up again, but I thought the sister that was going in, like, I don't know if she was really dramatizing the way it was when she was going in. Like, she seemed very dramatic and, like, should have known what she was getting into when she was signing up for this, and didn't kind of do that. But one of the things immediately we saw is that she was cleaning her cell, like, top to bottom.
I think she was probably hoping the show was more performative in that aspect, because it just looked from our vantage point. And listen, we'll get into this one a little later too, but listen, if I was going into it, I would know kind of what I'm getting into. She seemed like she was not ready for any of that, especially the cleanliness of the cell itself.
Yeah. But, that is one, I think that was my favorite episode I watched, because I think, obviously, the whole point of the show is to highlight this program that the sheriff's department's doing. But I think that episode, I think unintentionally almost, like, I think yielded a lot of interesting discussions and questions about, cleanliness of cells and just like the conditions of jail, in general, like for, I'm not going to go into detail, but, there was a human condition that the sister experienced in this episode. And, the jail didn't have supplies, like the necessary supplies. And I think that's like that's an interesting discussion to have. Like, is there something that could be done to make it so, these people have what they need to, because some of these are basic necessities, you know what I mean? Like, regardless of what these people have done, they're still, human beings, and, they should deserve some of those basic necessities. So I think that episode, even if it was unintentional, did kind of yield some interesting discussions on maybe a more kind of broad level about, just jail and the condition of jail and if it can be improved in any way. So
yeah,
I'll just say that about that episode.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of say it plainly, like she was on her period and they didn't have tampons for her.
Yeah,
and they were like she was trying to figure out what to do, and it was just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're all men, so we've never had to deal with something like that. But like that, to me, feels like a basic human right that should probably be covered in prison.
Absolutely.
And they have to like make their own, tampons in there, and so that was, that's something I didn't know.
No, that's something I didn't know, and hopefully kind of shines a little light on that. And if anything does come from the show, there's a few things that they have to fix and add, to make it more comfortable.
Well, and then
at least a little more comfortable.
But we're talking about stuff that this like exposes. We obviously, like, outside looking in, like, we kind of have an idea that people are still like able to get drugs and stuff in prison. Like,
true.
Yeah.
And they just like flat out just put it in the documentary. And
I
was like, I couldn't believe that they actually just came out and said that.
I know. I was gonna say, like I said on about episode 1, when they're like, oh wow, you got extra sheets. It's like, you can just put this right down the toilet and get drugs up here. And or like, people are breaking their sobriety or stuff, and it's like, how is this possible? So, and they kept it in the show. You're right. So hopefully they find out some ways to kind of fix some of the problems that people were facing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then obviously, I mean, there's obviously violence too. Like, the guy in episode 4, like, he got threatened, and he was like, he was going to kill him or whatever. The guy said he was going to assault him. Yeah, and like, I don't know, like it like, we can talk about how we felt about it, but there was a lot of issues that it like really put at the forefront that you wouldn't necessarily have thought. You would thought would have been kind of cleaned up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, definitely. And even in the first one, I know I keep referencing it, but the stepson who was in there was saying like, yeah, we're in a unit with like a bunch of people who are in gangs and stuff. So obviously you have to figure out a way to kind of just keep your head down, and stay out of trouble, and just kind of serve your sentence. But it's I can only imagine how anxiety inducing it is to be in there and trying to stay clean and get on a better path, but every day you're kind of living in fear.
Yeah.
Well, that felt like a good segue, honestly, and I know that's also one of our discussion points is, would you guys do this for a loved one if presented?
Yeah, it's something we've kind of been talking about over the last couple of days since we started watching the show, and we couldn't really figure out if this program was just for the TV show itself or was done just all the time. But regardless, it depends, I guess, the loved one and how much faith I would have in them, because there were so many instances if I would be able to do it, because not only are they in there for 48 hours, but the first 24 hours you don't even see your loved one. I mean, you're by yourself. Yeah. You're trying to fit in. You're trying to eat. You're trying to go enjoy outside. Like, you could see it kind of with the brother in the second one. He's on edge. He's kind of looking over his shoulder at all times. We see people get threatened. So, to do that for 24 hours and then be in there for the next, if it is 48, with your loved one, maybe a little better, but I don't know. It's tough to say. I would have to see who it's for.
Yeah, I can't. My gut instinct is no. Yeah. To be honest. Yeah. Like, it obviously depends on who or what or for what they're in for or things like that. But I don't know. I don't know. Like, obviously it is on rails, right? Like, when the person got threatened, they do have that safety mechanism where they're like, "Do you want to get out of here? We'll totally take you out of this."
Of course.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just like it's hard for us, I feel like, because we don't. I don't want to speak for all of us, but we don't really have people in our families that have had to go to prison or for extended periods of time or things like this. Like,
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why I think we're looking at it, again, not to speak for all of us, but looking at it from just a perspective that we just have no idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was something interesting to kind of to bring up. I don't know how you feel, Ryan.
I think if it was a drug-related incident, I would probably do it just because, I think there is... I don't know. I feel like depending on how close I was with them, I think like I would feel really bad just kind of leaving them out to dry. If it was someone that I was like really, really close with, we have a good bond over. And if it was something drug related, I have a lot more just sympathy and compassion for that. Like obviously if it was some heinous crime, that's one thing. But if it's like a drug thing, like I think I would try to be there for them. And if that's the way to be there for them, then I'm definitely not built for jail. But if I have to stay for 2 nights, then I will.
Well, yeah, because then true to your point, if you were to do it and say it worked or didn't work, but at least you gave it every effort you could, and if it didn't work, like that is now the final straw. That's kind of closure on that, unfortunately, because I'm sure how stressful it could be sitting at home wondering, is there more I could have done? Is there more I can do?
Yeah, the consciousness thing.
Yeah, exactly, because not only is it stressful for the person in jail, but the whole family is probably affected, about it, has it hanging over their head as well. So, be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I know. But yeah, it just to kind of, I guess, wrap up a little bit of it. It was very cool to have highlight here right over in Western Massachusetts. I know Cocchi talked about it on the podcast when we were at the Sheriff's Picnic. I think it was right before it debuted, because it debuted in August. Right,
I think we did the Sheriff's Picnic. I think it was that Wednesday, and then it premiered the next night.
Gotcha. So right around the time it debuted was talk to Cocchi, so listen to that. And I know, Ryan, you said you did a little story about it.
Yeah, a little advance on it when it came out. So I was able to speak to Cocchi just about it. He even said in that story that he was initially leery to put cameras on people in the beginning, but yeah. So we've had some coverage. We've had a lot of coverage on it.
Good, yeah.
And it also just kind of did want to note on this too. This wasn't funded with taxpayer dollars or anything. That was something that I saw when I was relooking this up. I just wanted to make sure folks know that they're not using your money to do reality TV shows.
Yes. We don't.
That's important.
Yeah, we don't want that. But I guess also to just like anyone listening. And has a loved one who's kind of dealing with something, or maybe is over in Ludlow or any of the other places, like there are programs available, so definitely make sure to check out the websites. Maybe check out the show too, regardless of how we talked about it. Get your own opinion on it.
Yeah, definitely.
Because if you did enjoy it, there's 10 of them to kind of get a deeper dive into them, and just like Dennis said, kind of see the problem, the overall arching problem of inmates, but also just the drug problem that's going on across the country.
Yeah. And then for those looking to watch, Ryan said he had watched it on Sling. I believe it's also on Hulu as well.
Yes, I have Hulu. I watched it on Hulu. It's just there.
It was just in the regular Hulu subscription.
Yeah, regular Hulu subscription. You could just go over, type in Family Lockup, and it pops up. All 10 episodes are available to you if you have a subscription to Hulu.
Yeah, I had not. We have a subscription to Hulu too, so I didn't realize that was going to be on there, so I just recorded all the episodes on Hulu.
Also a good way to do it.
Yeah. And I believe you can also purchase them to watch on YouTube as well, and maybe A&E Plus or something you can get as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there's you can buy episodes on Amazon Prime too, I think, and Apple TV. So
gotcha.
So it's everywhere.
Yeah,
it seems like.
Yeah. So whatever your streaming platform of choice is, I guess you can find it there.
Exactly.
But nice. All right, and I think before we wrap up this episode, we're going to take a quick break for a few more messages.
This January, Prime Magazine is all about connection. In our social issue, we explore how staying connected with family and friends can help you live longer, healthier, and happier. Discover the best apps and websites to meet people who share your passions. Learn how volunteering can help open new doors. And get tips for planning a multi-generational getaway that brings everyone together. We'll even show you how to turn your next workout into a fun social activity, because fitness is always better with friends. And if you're an advertiser looking to reach the over 45 market, contact sales manager Scott Green at 413-525-6695. Prime, your best life now.
And that wraps another episode of So That Reminds Me. Thanks for listening. We'll be back with another episode in a couple of weeks.
Thanks for listening to So That Reminds Me, produced by Western Massachusetts news source Reminder Publishing. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, find the latest news at thereminder.com, and follow Reminder Publishing on Instagram at Reminder Publishing, on X at The Reminder MA, and on Facebook. Reminder Publishing, we are hometown news.